All right. So last time, our intrepid heroes, after securing a dress for the would-be bride of Strahd that the abbot requested through some less than scrupulous means, and hunting down the mad mage. The party was at a bit of a standstill, as in where to go next, with a bit of time on their hands before the dress is complete, and a myriad of options before them. Tensions seemed to rise between Tensveta and Cole, finally boiling over into a conflict outside of the Blue Water. And in the midst of the chaos of these two battling, getting their emotions
idiots.
out,
Idiots.
battling idiots, sure.
Say for what it is, mate.
That moment of vulnerability was taken advantage of. Durango, you went from being a innocent bystander to being victimized brutally before you were swarmed with hordes of rats, ravenous and hungry, the sight of which still reverberates in throughout your dreams that evening. With both Durango and Tensveta injured the previous night, tensions still perhaps high and unresolved, you all awake from a relatively sleepless night once again in the Blue Water Inn. And as the morning cock crows outside the window, you hear the pitter-patter of the ever-present drizzling rain on the windows of the Blue Water. Ash, what did your previous night look like after seeing that your friends were taken care of, the two of them in a singular room? What did Ash do at this time?
Ash, shaken up by the events, you could tell he kind of retreated more into himself after the issues that have been going on, over the last week or so. And he sat next to the door in the room where the two are sleeping and trying to heal up a bit. Just sat in a chair by the door with his bow ready, just waiting for Durango to make any sort of move that was untoward being friendly or amicable.
Okay. So keeping a watchful eye, weary but watchful on Durango's health and his state of being. Cole, how do you spend your evening?
I think at first I would have been in the room a bit after, using the scroll on Rango and before I see myself out, notice Ash is propped up and you're gonna watch out for him. I'll head out into the, I'll think to the tavern, honestly, and just, have a quiet drink, maybe find something a bit cold to, put on his face, heal some of the bruises off of that. Before eventually, I think passing right out on the bar with a mug in hand.
Okay. Your sleep interrupted multiple times by a sound of scurrying somewhere, still haunting their nightly hours. Tensveta.
Mm-hmm.
Having awoken after being unconscious, although still injured, you were awake for the majority of the interaction between awakened Durango and Cole. What does Tenzveta do with this time?
He's not going to move. He's going to stay right where he's at and just stare at the wall. Then winter.
So hours pass, you count and trace lines, draw figures with your mind in the cracked wood of the Blue Water Tavern. The sounds of ash shuffling from time to time startle you for a moment, but you're lost in deep thought. And then finally, Durango.
Well, Durango has a long night of some interesting dreams, different subject matter than he's mentally visualized at night since he really showed up in this place. And morning comes, his eyes open slowly, and he gets his bearings, and doesn't make a move to do anything. Kind of evaluates his surroundings, and then with a really exaggerated groan and a stretch, he just like has a big stretch. Sees if he catches anybody's attention.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because you've bound yourself to stronger entities before for your own gain and advantage, right? And so the ever-present dreams now of this all-powerful Durango, this monster of the night, immortal and glorious, still lingering fresh in your mind. Ash, make a perception check for me.
Gonna get these going right away. Okay. Perception. For a 21.
21. So despite the fact that you sort of doze off at some point during the watch, the sound of Durango waking immediately sparks life. Your eyes dart open, that familiar hunter instinct. You don't make a move, still sitting in that chair in the corner of the room. You watch as he rises and stretches his arms out. No sign of anything undead.
Well, good morning, Sleeping Beauty.
Durango makes a bit of a show of being dazed and disoriented before his eyes fall on Ash. Good morning, Mr. Ash. Did we get a little carried away celebrating Mr. Ten's newfound skills at fisticuffs?
Yeah, no, you almost died. Are you hungry? Want some bacon? Maybe rare?
Why, Mr. Ash, do you owe me some debt? You should offer me a meal when I wake. This is quite a service, even for the great Durango Fortescue.
Just let me know if, just let me know how you like all your steaks, and we'll see what we can do for you.
Durango kind of arches a quizzical eyebrow and just smiles.
You've never had Barovian fried steaks?
Mr. Ash, I have not sampled much of the cuisine of this land, but tell me, this almost die, me, the great Durango Fortescue. Surely you jest.
Did you look at your torso, your throat? There's some scarring going on. It wasn't there before.
Durango makes quite a show of examining his own wounds, mocking, like surprise, looking shocked. Why, Mr. Ash, I would hope that you could explain to me who has marred the great Durango Fortescue in such a fashion.
I tell you what, you figure that out on your own, then we'll have problems. Also, Strahd bit you, so if you come near my neck, I'm going to kill you.
Sorry, Mr. Ash, this is jest, I say again.
No, I'll fucking kill you.
Tens gives a big huff, rolls over, and just leaves.
I'm glad he didn't say anything. I wasn't ready to try to deal with that this morning.
And a fine morning to you as well, Mr. Tens. Calls after him as he goes.
No acknowledgement.
But seriously, Durango, I hope you're okay. But, and I mean this with the most mercy and kindness that I can possibly muster. If I see that you, turn towards a dark path that's maybe not the one that you were walking before, I will put you in the ground, and I'll take the consequences, whatever they are.
Durango just kind of chuckles a little bit and waves the hand dismissively, like he'd offered him a drink he knew he didn't like. Mr. Esch, I can understand how these events would be quite disturbing for you, but you must remember this beast struck out at the greatest of us and failed. This should bolster your spirits, no?
Ash is gonna stand up and walk over to Rango, look at him. I don't know if he missed friend, and he's just gonna kind of slap him on the face a little bit gently, and walk out to try to go find him some breakfast.
Now that he's alone, Durango examines himself much more carefully. The jovial act is dropped.
Make a medicine check. So the much of the superficial scarring that has remained after the healing that was administered throughout the evening, you can easily take care of, right? And quickly begins to dissipate and disappear. Once again, unmarred, and your complexion unblemished. Your entire body, on the other hand, is still sore. And as Ash leaves, it's almost you almost slump down a little bit as the exhaustion sort of comes over you in a wave. You feel that your vitality is, I guess, returned from the previous evening. You're no longer at 1 hit point maximum, if we will. However, the event has definitely left you worse for wear, physically.
And Durango takes his time getting himself properly groomed and presentable, trying to compensate for the feelings of inner weakness by presenting a stronger and more presentable exterior. And once he feels that he's prepared, he swings open the door and does his best to stride down the stairs with his usual confident strut, head held high, trying to look unfazed.
So first down would have been Tensveta. Tens, you're going right to the bar?
Yep. Shuffling quietly, not acknowledging anybody except for Danica or her husband, whoever's behind the bar.
Cole, how about you make me a perception check now?
Okay. Oh, it's a 9.
All right. So Tens, as you make your way into the bar, you see that on one end is a slumped over Cole, drooling and asleep on the still on the top of the bar, with his head laid down on it.
There's a pool.
Danica sort of looks over at you, looks at him, shakes her head, makes a comment to Owen about breakfast, and then, all right, well, you feeling any better?
No. Thank you for asking.
That never seems to help, does it? You always think it's gonna, in the moment, but it just never works out that way.
Yeah. And he just turns around and finds a corner away from everybody to be emo, basically.
Sure. Ash, a few moments later, you come down the stairs. You see Tensveta in the corner by himself. You hear the snoring as Cole is grumbling, still in his sleep at the bar.
Ash is gonna let Cole sleep. He's gonna go up to Danica. Can we get a plate of whatever breakfast you got?
Already working on it.
Thank you. If you don't mind, can you send it up to the great Durango Fortescue?
See you awake already.
Yeah, between the priest and a few tricks we had up our sleeve, he's doing better than expected. Not sure
That's
he's
a
out of the wood.
miracle he came back from that. It's not often you see a man's throat get ripped out.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out if he's out of the wood he's at or not.
All right, yeah, but I can have one of the boys run something up to him.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Ash is gonna go sit down next to Emo 10s across the table from him and just kind of look at him.
He's got his bag of marbles out that he's kind of painted all of his runes on, that he's kind of reorganizing.
Well, was it worth it?
No.
Yeah.
You know, this is likely just me, but and he picks one of them up. He looks at it for a moment and it glimmers like a soft white before that white washes over him for a moment before it dissipates as he casts his morning mage armor. He just says, I feel a little taken advantage of.
Well,
So
that's because you were. We all were. Probably still are.
he like glances over at the snoring Cole. Yeah, I suppose we were.
Are you guys gonna...
Probably not.
All right. Listen, I ain't gonna pretend to know, and to a certain extent, I'm not gonna pretend to care either. But whatever beef you two got going on right now, I'm putting equal amount of blame on both of you for what happened to Durango last night. Now, that may mean something, that might not mean nothing. But, I get stuck here and I die here because both of you couldn't swallow your pride long enough to get along to get us the fuck out of here. I'm gonna go to Strahd myself, get turned, and haunt you for the rest of your fucking life. And we all know I'm great fucking company.
I enjoy your company more than the other two.
I think that says more about you than it says about me.
I know.
Listen, there can only be one sad sack running around. I got that claim to fame. I'll let you borrow it for like a couple days.
Okay, Dad. Thanks.
Ash is gonna reach across the table and just kind of lightly slap him across the face, and then go back to the bar and wait for breakfast.
Okay. Durango, are you do you make your way downstairs or do you stay in the room?
Oh, he's gonna make his way downstairs. Yeah, putting on his best show of vitality and you know, resilience.
Okay. So as you enter, you see Ash leave the corner, sort of smirking a little bit as he heads over to the bar. Danica begins to dole out food to everyone. Sort of surprised to see you. Good morning, sleepyhead.
And a fine morning to you as well, my host.
You're lucky the thing's still attached.
I can see. This is a common misconception. With the great Durango Fortescue, I assure you, luck is not a factor, but I appreciate your concern.
You're an odd one. Anyways, food's ready. And you see, she walks over to Tenzveta in the corner and drops a plate with extra bacon because she can never quite figure out which mood he's in. And puts one in front of Cole before just smacking him in the back of the head.
Oh, goblin's brains, trying. Ow.
Did you just say goblin's brains?
Yes.
Maybe. Morning.
Honestly, I don't know who looks worse right now. You or Durango?
Him.
They've got like wood. I've got like wood grain across the side of my face, like you know.
Spoken like a man who's fallen asleep at a bar.
Biscuits. Just immediately pays attention to the food.
Durango clicks his tongue disapprovingly and cleans the drool off of Cole's face with a couple of quick snaps, cleans him up. Just from like behind him.
Thanks, Durango.
Whatever would you do without me, Mr. Cole?
You know what? I don't know.
Yep.
Just housing the
Durango
food.
grabs a seat.
Soon after, Anna and her party make their way downstairs and begin to partake in breakfast as well. She kind of looks at all of you a little concerned, but says nothing. For the most part, everybody eats quietly. The tone of the blue water, tense, somber.
Ash is gonna look back with all the looks. Yeah, we're not dead yet. That's why you hired us to escort you here in the first place. Or whatever that worked out to be. That was more badass in my head.
Just shut up and eat. At some point during the meal, I'm just gonna look over to Tens and go, "Hey, are your ribs?"
Fine, thanks.
Sure, that was a big.
I said I'm fine, thank you.
All right. Awkwardly. Back to the plate.
In all fairness, since I already talked to him about it, for what it's worth, I blame you two equally for what happened to Durango. So just take that for what it's worth. You two need to work your shit out. Hopefully not with a fist fight. But I don't fucking care. Like I told him. If I die here, I will go seek out Strahd myself and haunt you for the rest of your life. My afterlife.
Well, it's on him. He knows the rules. Push my buttons long enough, I'm gonna hit him. That's what it is, mate. I'm quite agreeable.
Just saying. I said fairness.
I ain't never heard any malice to you, and to be fair, that wasn't, we couldn't have known that was happening. You know how many times I go out to a street fight, just punch it out with somebody, and that's it. You have at it, you shake hands afterwards, and you're done.
Yeah, but have any of those been street fights in Barovia? Amongst a guy that we've pissed off a whole lot.
He wasn't here when I threw the punches, mate. I just...
Right.
Yeah.
And the dude made a 4-day trip in one night and murdered off the entire winery. Sorry, Danica. So,
Easy, mate.
but it's the truth. Can't keep underestimating.
So if you're all done with your whatever this therapy session is, I do have some information on that, Mr. Cole. So we have managed to identify 2 separate groups that took part in that. One being similar to the type you encountered on the road. And it would appear they have a den not far from that strange tower. The other it's a group of the mountain folk, some of them druids. They went, we've been tracking them north, or south, I'm sorry, towards the mountains.
Well, we figured it was the druids at least, but yeah. Guess it's not so surprising anymore. The vampire, as you call him out here, is kind of got his hands in everything. Well, we're going after them or what? I'm just looking around, looking at Ash and Durango.
I mean, at this point, yeah, I'd love to kill a lot of them, but Sense here says we go to the temple, chop the head off the snake, and then we can deal with the riffraff after. They're less likely to focus their tasks outside of their self-interests without somebody to direct that. So we can hit the druids on the way to the temple if they're both south.
Would that be relatively in the same direction, DM?
It would. Yeah. The Amber Temple being seated in that southern mountain range.
Why, Sir Cole, I could think of no others better suited to the tasks at hand.
And about how actually, I'll ask Danica, about how far is that travel from here?
From here to the Amber Temple, you mean?
Yeah.
It depends on which route you take. Follow the road. It's windy, through the woods, through the mountains, open. Of course, you could always follow the river. That comes with its own set of problems. Quicker that way. Probably take you maybe a day or two. Follow the road. You're looking maybe 3 or 4.
Well, how long have we been in town now? 2 days? 3 days?
This is our second day, I believe.
Okay.
Yep.
Because it's gonna take a week on the dress and a week on the armor.
Yep.
Could head there and back. Take the river,
We'd have to take a river, yeah.
which, if it's just us, might be decent enough. Not have to worry about too many other folks.
Tins is finally going to speak up. And at what point do we take Anna home? When we get the dress ready.
Well,
Yeah.
yes. I think she was planning on staying here.
Hey,
Yes.
Anna, you want to go capsizing through a river?
I'm sorry.
You know,
He's
splish splash.
Tins just gets up and walks out, leaving the plate completely full.
What is this about a river?
I was being a smartass. Just go back to your breakfast.
She sort of looks around a little confused, looks at the others at her table, and proceeds to eat.
Ash turns back and kind of just to the people at the bar. I mean, I was being an asshole, smartass, but I thought that'd be easy enough to understand.
I wish Tenzin didn't leave just now. He kind of knows what's going on around here a bit more than I do. But
It's almost like he's feeling some sort of way about getting his ass kicked.
he was asking for it, wasn't he? It was just poke with a stick over and over.
I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just saying that
I felt so good, mate.
I'm sure it did. But now, if we want to keep using his help, you might have to, hit him in the feelings and not the chest.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If we leave town or get too far away from town or anywhere that's dangerous, take the lady with us. Something could happen to her while we're gone. That's the only thing.
I don't know. And then Ash looks around and says under his breath, that I really care. But probably not a good judge on that one.
Well,
She's as safe here as she is anywhere else.
yeah, but we're pretty good, mate, And we were hired to protect her,
Danica, if we leave her here, is she gonna die?
I mean, it's Barovia, so I mean, nothing's certain.
See, that's what I
But
said.
it's not typical that we're ever under any sort of direct assault. But you all are quite loud.
You're not wrong.
Oh, I guess when Tenzveta shows back up, if he knows anything around here, he had some sort of checklist he wanted.
We got a couple houses that we're supposed to look at.
Yeah, oh no, mate. I just need some money. That's all I've sort of cared about at this point. Yes, I think there's a windmill and there was something we passed on the way here. All right, mate. As he's finishing up his plate, he's gonna throw. Actually, do I even have any money to put on the bar right now?
Oh, that's right, because you dropped it all in the armor, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got a few silver. I'll put a few silver down for the meal. And Cole's gonna make his way over to the temple.
You mean the church?
The church, yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
not the golden temple. Yeah, the church, Amber Temple.
Ash is going to lean over to Durango quick.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Was I a good doctor? Was I a good doctor, Ash? I thought I'm bringing the healing together.
Tenz is standing right outside the door. He was trying to keep everybody in sight. So
Durango looks up from his food like he's kind of in a daze. Just for a second, maybe his composure is not entirely there, but as he makes eye contact, he's back. Why, Mr. Ash, there was a point when I considered that perhaps you have chosen the wrong profession.
Thanks for buffing my ego, Durango. Appreciate it.
Durango just gives him a clap on the shoulder and starts making for the door. He gives a dramatic walking bow to the rest of the patrons on his way out.
Danica, I don't know how we're gonna get out of this place alive. And I follow Durango.
Tenzveta, So outside, just outside the door, you watch the street still muddy and wet. Shockingly, outside, the rain seems to have washed away whatever blood and gore had marred the streets from the evening before. And surprisingly, no sign of rat carcass or anything remains of the struggle from the previous evening. Despite a dark patch of ground still slick and wet where Durango was lying. A few moments, you see several of the town folk that are making their normal passes throughout town, back and forth to whatever tasks they need to complete for the day. Several of them stop and are a little taken aback for a moment, look as if surprised. And rounding one of the corners, several of the dusk elves appear. They see you and immediately start to make their way towards you. And oh god, my brain is blanking. What's his name, Chuck?
It's like it's not Katesk. It's like something.
Okay,
Don't
I was
ask me.
gonna look it up. Hold on.
Why gonna tell me?
Catan.
I didn't have it open, and I'm grasping for straws now. It's a long week of traveling, man. It's really taking it out of me.
Welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man, never happens. Literally never happens.
Casimir.
Yeah.
Casimir?
I think so.
Casimir.
Casimir, yeah.
Not
Yeah,
Kaka
Joe.
Joe.
Casimir is
It's
with
not Kaka
yeah,
Joe.
yeah.
It's not Kaka
Kaka
Joe.
Joe.
No, Kaka Joe's dead.
Kaka Joe is dead, maybe. So, yeah, so Casimir is with them. And as he approaches, his normal dour demeanor, he smiles a bit and sort of shakes his head. And, hey, well, this is, yeah, well, when you didn't arrive
Yeah,
last evening, we came out searching for you. I know you'd said this is the last place you'd stayed, so.
Sorry about that. We had a bit of an incident. Yeah.
In the city.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of an incident? Is everyone okay?
Everything's fine now. There's no worry about it. It's all good, I suppose.
And he sort of looks around you, looks around at the buildings and everything. It's been several years since I've set foot in this place, and it looks
Where am I now?
no better for it.
Would you like a drink? We know the proprietor.
A little early for my blood, but no.
Hmm.
No, we'll be. We've got a bit of bartering to do, and we'll be heading back to town, or back to our camp. But have you decided on your next move? Will I be joining you?
I'll need to be speaking with my other compatriots about it first. It sounds like we were anticipating going to the Ember Temple sooner than later.
Oh, excellent.
Hmm.
And at that moment, Cole, you step outside.
Oh, the fearless leader. Where are we going?
We're thinking we're heading south. As long as the lady's gonna be alright, we didn't want to leave her and, we'll end up getting attacked while we're out. But,
Right.
that's the only thing. You can discuss it, mate, don't know our feelings. Feel a bit bad, that was a hard punch.
I'm fine. Where are we going? What's the plan? Did you decide?
Mate, I don't know if I like this attitude no better. Mate, I ain't trying to be a leader,
He turns back to he like turns his back to look at the dusk elves and just goes, pending. You said you'll be in town today?
Yes, for a few hours.
All right.
Yet we have, like I said, we have a bit of bartering to do. It is always a bit to get past the, yes, we are dusk elves. Yes, we live outside of town. Oh, you know, it's...
Yes, I understand that barrier very well. What kind of things are you going to be bartering for? I mean, no.
It's general supplies. We are proficient with, making tools and such. So, and a bit that we were tasked to sell from the Vistani there.
Right. He pulls out 11 gold and hands it to him and says, make sure that you get everything you're going to need for the journey to the Ambit Temple as well.
Sort of holds his hand out. It's quite all right. I am more than prepared.
Fine.
It has been something I've been prepared for some time. I believe I just needed a little extra courage, I guess.
Right. Courage. Nate kind of like glances back at Cole for a moment. Meet us back here whenever you're finished.
Yeah, alright. Sure you don't need like ice or nothing? Oh yeah, you're cold enough anyway, you're fine.
He looks back at the dusk elf. Meet us back here whenever you're finished bartering.
Yes, of course. Are you all prepared? It is the weather changes drastically in the mountains. It gets extremely cold.
That is an important note. Thank you. I'll go make sure that we have enough to handle ourselves.
Excellent. Well, we'll be about our business and shall endeavor to meet you here in a few hours.
Have a good morning.
You as well. Mr. Cole.
Just sort of gives like a rough salute and turns heel and carries on his way.
So as you head towards the church up that main street of Valaki, what are the rest of you doing?
Did he say it's gonna get cold?
He did.
We should probably go prep for that then.
That was my thought.
I guess this would be prudent.
Though I don't think punching people is needed. Durango, you with me?
Durango gives a, slight little bow with a smile. And you, Sir Cole, shall you be properly equipped for the adverse conditions?
I'm nowhere near there, mate. I'm on my way to the church.
Oh shit, that's right. I shall secure provisions, first of all, Sir Cole. I am familiar with his dimensions.
Right. And he looks at Ash and thinks about it for a moment. I've got you covered.
Oh, does that mean okay. Call! Ash takes sprinting off after Cole.
Doesn't take very long to catch up to him. He's a little hungover, and the streets again are muddy, and the rain just continues to pour down those loose cobblestones leading up, following that old Sphalic road. Before you reach the church, the overcast sky breaking for just a moment to allow the slightest bit of light to glint off the stained glass windows and that tiled stone exterior. As you approach, as per usual, Ismark is sitting outside. He seems to be whittling something out of wood.
I'm actually gonna not try to draw his attention at all then. If I can, I want to try to like circle around, and I'm actually looking for the inlet where the saint's bones are kept.
So the saint's bones are kept in. There's like a trap door in the front of the church, so there really is no
Okay.
other direct way in, and it's not the easiest thing because the whole podium and everything is kind of pulled over it.
In that case, Cole's just gonna crack his knuckles and start kind of rubbing his fingers together, and as he moves his hand downwards, you see the top of him start to disappear all the way down. I'm casting invisibility.
Okay. So yep, you watch as Cole just vanishes from where he was.
Yep, and gonna continue to try to head in through the trapdoor.
Okay. So you make your way through the church. At this hour, mass is already ended for the day. You guys are all woke a little late. The priest himself is, having a conversation with two Barovian commoners, two parishioners, if you will. While that the small boy that is always with him is cleaning up throughout the pews and the aisles. You make your way up to the podium. You see that heavy wood that is sitting atop that trap door that goes underneath, that heavy stone door. What are you trying to do?
Yeah, I'm trying to go in. So yeah, I'm gonna reach down and as quietly as I can. Yeah, I'm not really a stealth guy, but as quietly as I can, I'm gonna try to open the door.
Go ahead and make a stealth check for me.
Yeah. Hey, it's a 9. It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah, as soon as you go to move that podium, the whole thing is made of a heavy oak-like wood, and it just scrapes against the ground. Immediately, everyone's head turns. The priest comes up and starts to look, pushes it back with a little bit of effort. Okay. That's what's strange. And if you remember, Cole, this door is not easy to open. It required like a crowbar or some sort of tool to like leverage it. It is a heavy, heavy tiled floor.
Okay.
Ash comes in. Has anybody seen Cole?
Ash, good to see. Oh, well, okay. Cole, no, I have not seen him all morning. His Mark sort of just begins to look around dramatically.
I'm gonna break
I swear
invisibility
he
and
was
just put
just
my
here.
arm around him,
Around
Around
who?
me?
Around Ash?
around his mark.
His Mark. Oh God!
Oh, found him. Never mind.
He draws his short sword at his side.
Oh, easy, mate. Easy. It was just a prank, mate. It's just a prank.
Oh jeez. Cole Mavvin, you've got to give me a heart attack. It has been some time since we have been assailed by shadows in our own home, but not long enough that one forgets.
Oh yeah, I forget that this sort of maybe pranking in Barovia aren't the best thing to be doing to people.
What does the kids say? Too soon.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Sorry about that, mate. Yeah, I was just gonna head inside and have a moment to myself. Ash, what are you following me?
Good question. I I don't know. The elf said that he. Listen, I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore, but I feel at this particular moment, nobody should be alone. There's a lot of feelings. We might need to talk them out. Just
He pulls out his PhD. He's
listen.
I'm a
I took this.
counselor. I can help you through this.
Yeah. Listen, I did it all by crow. They said you should do the class at your own pace. The professor, just sends the homework to you. You take care of it.
Those schools ain't accredited, I don't think.
I mean, it was a regional, thing.
Anyway, I was just gonna go in and have a quiet moment to myself.
All right. I mean, I'll just wait outside. I ain't trying to yuck your yum. Ismark. Let's go. And I'm just gonna drag Ismark out with me.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, so tell me how. Maybe he just immediately starts to chew your ear off as you guys make your way outside. Father Lucian also comes out. He guides those two. He says goodbye to the two commoners and gives them a quick blessing and turns to you and well, Cole, Mavvin, what a surprise. Is your friend, did he make it out okay? Is he?
Well, as far as we can tell, yeah, he's no more scary looking than usual.
Yes, well, Lathander be praised, yeah? What more can I do for you?
Honestly, I was looking to have maybe a quiet word with Lathander for a bit. Just me and him, yeah?
See. He sort of kind of knowing smile crosses his lips for a second. Well, I think, come boy, I think we have some work to do in the garden, yeah? You can see the kid sort of drops his head down for a second. Oh. I don't want to do any work. That's too bad. We must do it. We must labor for the light, yeah? And he leads him outside. So the church in that moment is empty.
Okay. Cole is gonna rest the spear on one of the pews, and he's actually gonna pull the shield off his back and sort of lay it up against the pulpit there. Facing the appropriate way. And he's gonna pull out of his bag a I have the exact thing it is here. The censer and a block of incense, and he's gonna fill the censer. And he's got a little tinder box, and he's just gonna set it on and place the vented cap on top and place it near the shield. Also, while still having the tinder lit, he's gonna light a couple candles and place them on either side.
Yeah, the rituals, although familiar, right? The muscle memory may never leave. You feel almost rusty and a bit nostalgic as you begin to complete the tasks required.
Yeah, and he's really not thinking about the task so much. It is very much muscle memory, but it brings a little bit of comfort. Looking at the symbol on the shield. This feels a bit weird, innit? It's, Why do you do so little? So little? Protect this place with bones. The ones we send are assembling monsters. I'm gonna take him out, yeah? Is that what you want? You know? Is he really doing your work? Did you suggest that he should assemble bits of people? Why don't you... Why don't you actually step in for a change and do something? You wait for us to do it for you, yeah? And we're just going along all happy. Oh, I'm doing it for the light. For the dawn. Always for the dawn. You know, could use some dawn. These people. And you send someone making monsters. How could you?
Roll a D100.
$33.
So outside, the sound of that drizzling rain sort of dripping against the stone. A raven caws, flies by the window. Shadow sort of twisting, dancing in those stained glass windows a little bit, fluttering shadows across the room. And in that moment, the clouds, that overcast sky breaks for just a second. And the light hits the window, and you watch now as your eyes are drawn to it. It hits the window and it refracts. The tint from the window, the painted glass depicting a scene of the Morning Lord holding a set of scales in one hand, a blazing sword in the other. The sun rising behind him, all painted brilliantly. But the sun gets distorted, the light twisting as it bounces across the room, shifting in color, and just doesn't quite penetrate the fog of the mirror. It's just not strong enough. Before the clouds again overtake it, and that dim gray just permeates throughout the empty church.
Blow out the candles. And there's an alternate cap for the sensor that I put on that snuffs it out. Back up the shield. Spear in. All right. One last time, then. And, yep. Pulls out the amulet. Ravens it is. Walks out.
As you walk out, his mark is still so. Yeah, and that was the second time that I had hunted that exact same deer. It is, yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Well, I don't got any tips for you. I mean, I'm pretty good with a bow, but like, I'm not at the same time. Like, I'm constantly having to relearn. So I get it.
I'm just saying it happens to the best of us. You know, we don't all have great days. Sometimes you get in your head. Maybe it's the weather here. I don't know.
Well, here, try a couple of these. They work pretty good for being covered in like wolf hair and chipped and shit.
Thank you. These,
Durango sends his regard. Listen, I have like 800 of these things back at the inn.
It's good. It's good to know.
If you ever need any, just go take some.
Cole. Everything good?
Yeah, everything's fine. Yeah.
Great.
And he's just gonna take the burnt out incense and just kind of toss it on the side of the street, empty out the censer, and pack it back up. You all set, Ash? We
Yeah.
Sir Mavvin, can I speak with you for a moment? You see the priest just rushes up and grabs you. She's leaving the boy. He's pulling up weeds from the garden as he rushes over to you.
Yeah, of course.
So I've seen this struggle. I can see it in you. We have discussed this, yeah. But just remember that a single flame in the light is dim, meaningless. But in dark places such as this, it is brilliant, blinding. It can be quite impactful. And that, it is important to remember that it is our face in the light that gives it strength, not the other way around. Without us, these would just be words.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm, one of the words. I'll try to remember him. And,
Good.
yeah,
Sort of rests a hand on your shoulder for a moment and smiles and nods. I hope you do.
just... Well, I think we got some preparations to make. We're heading south after this, so... He's
So Durango, Durango and Tensveta. Yeah. Durango Tensveta. So what is it you guys are looking to achieve?
Well, we need clothes and set up to handle cold weather. Sends us out for single tents. 4 of them, 5 of them, because 4 of them because he said that he's got his stuff taken care of, and then clothes, cold winter clothes, yeah.
Okay.
Simple survival stuff.
So simple survival is relatively easy to acquire. There's a general store, although a bit of shock at the notion of anyone actually buying tents for use outdoors. They do have them. So for tents, bedrolls, all the supplies you'll need, warmer cloaks.
I'd like
No.
2 sets of clothes for Ash, though. I'd like a feminine set and a more masculine set.
Okay. So yep, everything will probably run you 6 gold.
Okay. Easy enough.
The majority of the fur being in excess is wolf skin and wolf fur. It's mottled brown and black and gray. Not the greatest quality, but it'll keep you warm.
Okay.
However, between the two of you, it is relatively cumbersome. So as he stacks it all up, everything you've requested, you look at this sort of pile of merchandise on the floor.
Durango shakes his head with a disapproving click of his tongue. Mr. Tens, this shall never do. Carrying all of this.
Well, hold on. Give me a moment. And he pulls out a couple of marbles and he kind of like holds them in midair for like a solid 10 minutes. And then as he lets go of them, they disappear.
Is your friend all right? Is he stuck like this forever?
Shut up.
It is better than when he
Focus.
switches between his moods. As I was saying, there is much more to being the great Durango Fortescue than simply insisting you are the great Durango Fortescue until it is
Okay.
accepted. You are the great Durango Fortescue.
Well, I could go to Mr. Fortescue. I saw your performance at the last festival. It was brilliant.
I am so glad to hear you have enjoyed, my friend. Perhaps you shall see the great Durango Fortescue perform once again. Mr. Tens, are you done with the marbles, please?
I would be done sooner if you would shut up.
But the wait is not half as sweet without my fine tales, I tell you.
And he lets go, and the marbles kind of float there for a moment before they disappear as he casts his unseen servant as a ritual. Carry the things. They just kind of, some of the, like a portion of it gets picked up. Oh, that's salt pot. I'm part of our issue.
Why, Mr. Tens, this is this is a most impressive trick.
You met them at the bar the other day. They took over the bar. You don't remember this?
I must confess, Mr. Tens, there was so much going on that evening.
This
Who am I
is-
to notice?
This one's name is Joseph. Say hello to Joseph.
It is lovely to make your acquaintance, Joseph. I, of course, am the great Durango Fortescue, and
He doesn't speak. He's not going to reply, nor will he give you any accolades. Please pick some things up. And he starts picking some of the stuff up.
Durango gestures to the shopkeep, gestures to the remaining things on the floor. Of course, these shall be delivered to the Blue Water Inn.
Normally I would charge extra for that, but for you, Mr. Fortescue, it will be my pleasure. I will have one of the my lads bring it around within the hour.
It is so refreshing to meet a fine patron of yours who understands that my hands are simply not meant for such toil.
If we could all be so gifted.
Yes, if only. Thank you, sir.
So everybody making their way back to the Blue Water. You all arrive roughly similar times. Few, maybe 30 or 40 minutes later, all the supplies they arrive at the Blue Water Inn. The tents, 5 tents, bedrolls, heavier cloaks. Everything essentially you were looking for there.
Ash, not to be overbearing on this one, but I didn't know if it would be of use to have something a little more flexible in nature. So I got you a set of each.
Hope I don't make any offense in the matter. It might be useful if we... I don't know.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No. Good call. Sorry, still a little uncomfortable with the knowledge of how I operate.
You literally yelled at yourself in the woods. Not but 48 hours ago.
Yeah, I did, but nobody else seems to have noticed it, so I've just been ignoring it.
Durango waves a hand dismissively towards Ash, and then is Ash. My friend, think nothing of it.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, I got enough for all of us to stay warm and handle the heights correctly in terms of temperature. Don't want any of you freezing out there.
Durango, I know you had a bit of a rough night. Are you gonna be good to go?
He's fine. He was flirting with the shopkeep as per normal.
Mr. Tens, as usual, is quite astute. It shall take more than this to fell the great Durango Fortescue.
I swear if I hear that phrase one more time today, I'm going to just walk into the woods and never come back.
Should you tell us while you are ahead what is occurring? That is what we call scouting, Mr. Tens, and would be most useful.
No, I will not be coming back. Thank you for your optimism.
Ash just kind of looks at the sky a little bit and goes, We leaving now? We leaving in the morning?
Well, the Dusk Elves will be ready today. Then, and he kind of looks outside. Probably within a few moments, hour. So, I don't know.
A moment later, Danica bounds out. Well, only the great Durango Fortescue could possibly.
And he just starts marching. He starts marching away.
Wait. And was there something I said?
I wouldn't take it personal on this one, Danica.
Just going to say, I've never seen someone get such fine attention from these miserable bastards in this town. But
My friend, it is simply a matter of how do you apply oneself.
He's
Sure.
got that silver tongue. Or is it blue? Durango, what color's your tongue?
He sticks it out, and it's kind of a purpley color with a slight fork.
Huh. Yeah, he's got a purple tongue.
with that, Kesamir and several of the Dusk Elves around the corner, he speaks to several of them and nods, and the rest move with full packs in a different, back out towards the southern gate of the city. As he turns to all of you, a backpack around his shoulders, is still wearing the same clothing that he was before, those sort of finer, lighter robes that he tends to wear. Well, it's tense. Are we prepared to make way?
I believe he has chosen to scout ahead. Perhaps we should make haste and meet up with him.
Well, yes, sir, quite astute. Yes. Which direction shall we be headed?
Guess we're
South.
taking the road. Because we didn't grab a boat.
You can walk the shore.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
just
we
walk the-
could, but Anyway,
That's what I thought we were gonna do. Was just walk.
it's
walk
probably
the
what
shore.
Tim's thought about not walking the shore, but he's not going to talk about that one until we actually get to the river.
Oh, you so follow the Luna through the mountains, yes?
Seems like the quickest way.
Well, it is until, again, it is quicker to, particularly easier than taking the pass. But Solenka Pass, we will have to, of course, cross at the bridge and then make our way into Mount Garcus. But yes, the river is shorter, if not fraught with its own ghosts.
Well, I think
But-
for the most.
Well, then westward we shall go.
Yeah, I forget every route's just about as dangerous one way or another, so.
Yes, well, it's an excellent point.
And to be frank, if I'm gonna die here, I just would rather get it over with sooner. So.
And I don't like the idea of rotting on the side of a road somewhere. In the middle of the woods, where you never run across my corpse. Much better.
Yeah, I don't want people to know I failed.
Yeah, exactly. It just looks bad on you, yeah?
Yes, well, it doesn't quite translate from Elvish, but it's just something along the terms of, if a hero falls in the wood, is anyone around to see his corpse, I guess, or something like that. But trust me, it's beautiful in Elvish.
I think I've heard that one, yeah.
Mm.
Oh, is this for me? And I start going through I guess the garments that are just sort of floating around.
Yeah, no, Joseph was left behind holding whatever was left over.
Of course, Sir Kroll, I have chosen only the finest in fineries.
I'm assuming it looks very much close to the jacket I have, except maybe fluffier and with like a warmer,
Not, not particularly, right? Because you have the cut off sleeves. This is more of a heavier cloak, with gloves and heavy boots that are made they're a little bigger to slip over your sabatons, if you will.
Gotcha. Well, I'll just pack this until I need him, yeah? Roll it up and get into the pack.
Excellent. So as all of you, easily between the group of you, you're able to pack up all the supplies and make your way out the western gate.
Sens is waiting at the gate.
Okay, so as all of you meet up with Tens, make your way once again along the Old Svalak Road outside the city of Valaki. After a few hours of walking, and is there anything in particular anyone's trying to get accomplished during this walk?
Ash will be on point. But other than that, he's had enough being the doctor for the day.
Yeah, I think Tens will actually kind of go out off the beaten path a little bit and kind of stealth around and keep track of like the group of us, making sure that nobody is kind of watching from the shadows while he is.
And it's difficult, for what you're trying to achieve, because that fog is thick in the wood, and just taking a few steps into the tree line, everything starts to almost disappear behind you, and you very quickly panic as you lose sight of your friends, and then kind of rush back out to the road. And that fog is almost oppressive, like a living entity that's designed just to upset you and thwart your every move, and you reluctantly push yourself back closer to the group. A few moments later, Casimir sort of slows down and walks beside you. So, incident, yes?
Right. A tall, clanky, and handsome out there. And I got into a bit of a tussle because of my attitude yesterday. I made the mistake of inviting Fog and the King upon the Hill came down and struck down the great Durango. And
He
I
sort
felt
of looks
harassed.
sideways at Durango.
He's okay.
Hmm.
But
And you're certain it was him. It was Strahd.
without a doubt, I went to drop the fog that I brought, and it didn't drop. He took over it, and Strahd proceeded to literally rip Durango's throat out after biting it. Or vice versa. I'm not really sure the direct order of operations on that one, though. If you look closely, you can see the marks. But we had the priest come in, do the whole thing. He's fine. Unfortunately, he got to keep his vocal cords.
It's good to see that he's alive. This is, it is one thing to talk of a monster, yeah, in stories, wandering in the dark. It's another to know that it is hunting you. Have you ever been hunted, Tensvetter?
A time or two.
When there's something different about an unseen enemy versus something that is actively looking to do you harm. That is aware of where you are. It's aware of your weaknesses. This is his gift. And he has had centuries to perfect it. Everything we've known about Prince Strahd in the stories, it was for lack of a better, for as many shortcomings, he was a brilliant and ruthless tactician. And he's just had countless years to perfect that, twist it into his perversions.
Well, I'll tell you what it felt like yesterday. It felt like a child pushing someone over a toy. It's nothing but brutality for brutality's sake.
Yes, well,
He's not going to get in my head.
that is good. But and I don't know that you're wrong in your assessment. We are all playthings.
At that mention, he's feeling a little suspicious. He's going to pop the detect thoughts and just kind of like listen to the surface thoughts of Casimir.
So the surface thoughts are fear. Right, you can feel his mind wandering something deeper that is terrifying and dark. Something that is whatever past experience you very much get the feeling that whatever you were going through with Strahd, Casimir has gone through many times over. And that pain and suffering is just solidified into a hardness and a bit of coldness that is, cracking at the moment at the surface level. But
I'm going to go ahead and dig a little deeper, just because I'm curious.
yeah,
I want specific instances.
yeah, and the
DC
first.
13.
Yeah, let's see.
He's gonna know.
Mhm. It's more out of paranoia right now.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh.
Oh, it was almost.
In a moment, as you start to sort of dig, you feel those walls come up, well practiced and well maintained, almost like a ward. As he
Apologies.
smirks at you.
It's just a natural
Curious
curiosity.
mind. We'll chalk it up to. But trust me, there are certain things you will pray that you never get to see.
Praying isn't my forte. Tell me, what should we expect at this Ember Temple? Anything?
Of that, I am not certain.
Hmm.
I've seen visions. My sister has given me dreams and slumber. But something there's answers, but of what do you expect to see? I have never seen it myself.
Sure.
You can call it cowardice, if you will, but no, that is what it is.
It is.
That after about an hour and a half of walking, you cross that stone bridge. You watch the river meander through for several hundred feet, 100 yards, even before it just disappears into the fog beyond. You reach that familiar crossroad with the broken signpost. Bits of it still lying where you found it the first time. Pointing in the 4 different directions. Well, from here, and he points to the southern, like southeastern path that's just sort of disappears into the foggy wood. You know, this is the direction we need to take.
Then let's
Follow
take
the
it.
river. Yes. Keep your guard up. I've heard stories, and hunters typically avoid this side of the river for fear of ghosts and whatever not that might still haunt the remains of Berez,
Right.
as well as Argenvolstolt is not far, and we will see it as well. It is an ominous-looking remnant. Anyways, eyes open.
Well, can't be any worse than what we've seen already. And I pull out the spear and I, use it sort of as a walking stick for the journey.
Yeah, Tins is just flipping the hilt of the sword around in his hand. Other hand in his marbles.
Okay.
Now that I say that out loud, it sounds kind of weird. And his literal bag of marbles at his hip.
We
So-
understand. You can.
I wasn't confused until you clarified.
You have marbles. We get it. It's okay.
No, it's just one of those things. It's just, you just said it out loud. It's just get it out.
Anyways, so another hour or two into the walk, the ground is whatever path had been here is overgrown, and it takes several times. You find yourself wandering off of it, and you have to find it again. It traces along the edge of the river, and it points the the land gets very marshy and wet, and you begin to sink in. The water and ground are cold at your feet. The journey itself is difficult. For some of you, disgustingly difficult, Durango, as you continuously try to keep the muck and grime of the cold fall, swampy water off of your nice boots. On your right, yeah, go ahead.
This is a most lovely path we have chosen, gentlemen.
Oh, Rango, we've been through worse. Literally,
But
probably a
of
few
course,
days
my
ago.
lord.
Directly in front of you, looming over the fog in the distance, you can see that mountain just peak and creep like a fang in the darkness over the top of the fog line. Another smaller tooth, if you will, peeking out a little southwest over the trees. And on your right, as you continue along the path, the tree line begins to dissipate. The ground becoming a little more sloped as the edge of this mountain brushes up against the bank of the river. The terrain becomes a little more rocky. Large boulders and cliffs of flat crag as you continue to make your way. And as you pass that opening, the trees sort of dissipate to another marshy bit of land before you. You see looming up above, maybe a quarter of a mile away on a cliffside up above you, the ruins of some dark, foreboding mansion, fortress almost. Nothing near the scale of Ravenloft itself, but you can tell at one point in time it was an impressive structure. The stones jutting out like the bones of some ancient beast, grasping towards the sky, rotting like a carcass against the side of the hill as the sun begins to set behind it. A slight chill as that your cold feet begins to creep up your spine as you almost feel this large shadow creep across the sky. Everything getting dark for a moment, but you look up and it's just a cloud. The gust of cold wind seems to beat down like a set of black wings. And nothing. A shadow sort of settling over the ruins. Casimir turns to all of you and says, what remains of the illustrious Silver Order of the Dragon? Anger Volstholt.
People actually still.
Oh, no.
Okay.
None that I'm aware of. Which has been, it is a tomb.
Maybe
Yeah,
if we make good time there and stop on the way back and, sign the guest book and pick up some souvenirs at the tourist shop.
Well, just besides the obvious, blanket. Oh, Strahd did it. What happened to the place?
Yeah. It's tough to say that Strahd, for one, did it, although I think it is just the corrupting nature of what he is that seems to take foothold in everything he touches, but they just sort of disappeared. They seem... everything we're told, they hunted Strahd. And they looked at his curse as if it was fitting, unfortunately. And, if this were to be Strahd's penance, his existence here, torture, then, and all of us here along for the ride, then so be it, I guess.
Some order.
Well, these are latest types. He nudges you.
Yeah.
He kind of winces at the nudge in the ribs.
Yes, some religious folks can be corrupted. Do all the right things for the wrong reason.
Do all the wrong things for the right reasons.
Well, I don't know that
Why not?
religion is a qualifier or disqualifier there, but I believe all people can do the right thing for the wrong reasons, or vice versa.
Wolf's
My
not saying a
ideas.
word.
Some of them throw themselves at an ancient temple on the words of their dead sister with a bunch of strangers. So it gets worse.
About how much further you think we're gonna make it tonight? Should we start looking for accommodations?
I think this is as good a place as any. I think if we go any further, we'll be up to our ankles in muck again.
Yeah, I don't want to upset Durango's sensibilities by sleeping in muck. Because we'll never
Well,
stop hearing about it.
Your consideration for my sensibilities, Mr. Ash, it is most welcome, but it is my boots for which I worry. Have you seen? He whiffs a foot and gestures to the muddy boot.
Yep.
For the first time, probably all day, he makes sure to get Cole's eye line as he says, "If you make me invisible, I can go check the place out upstairs, and we can see if there's accommodations enough for us all here. We don't have to sleep out here in the elements."
Yeah, all right, mate. And up until this point, Cole's been casting this sort of thing, but sort of like with really sloppy technique, like just literally enough to get the spell done. You notice him paying a little closer attention. The form is a little tighter. The timings are a little better. Yeah, I'll cast invisibility on Tenzveta.
And he's immediately going to take off up the hill towards the temple, the ruins, and start looking for anything quietly that may or may not be up here.
So the path itself doesn't exist, right? You're essentially climbing a bit of sheer cliff and rock. You know, and for about honestly about a quarter of a mile up. So you can see the building stretching, but it's just, you know, it's obviously it's a bit in the distance. So I will give you make an athletics check or acrobatics check for me, and then Constitution.
Acrobatics at 19, and just a Constitution check.
Yeah.
Natural 20 for a 21.
Natural 20.
Nice.
So in your winter state, very focused on the task at hand at the moment, you begin to calculate as you rush how much time you have and the best course of the best path ahead. So leveraging that, you easily find footholds before the sun starts to go down. You still, with what little light you have and your elven eyes, you continue to make your way up to the manor itself. Again, that cold chill sort of goes down your already chilled spine as you look at this dead building, looking more like a tombstone than anything else. Give me just a moment. And as you approach, you manage to, the best course of action you find is you see the remnants of a road and a bit of the entryway, this large set of stone stairs leading up to the ruins of this once great fortress. And approaching it, you see this statue. It is stone, granite, you surmise. and it's kind of perched up on this 10-foot wide, 10-foot high cube. And at the top, this large depiction of a dragon, its wings tucked close to its body, looking eastward towards the mansion. All around you, the fog sort of rolls in and brushes up against the walls of the building, spilling in and over. As that night sky begins to get darker and darker, the front doors at the top of this stone stairway, tall wooden doors hanging on rusted iron bands, knockers shaped like small dragons, and carved at the very top into the lintel above the entrance, the word Argenvolstolt.
Is there any? Are there any structures outside of the actual building itself that could provide some semblance of cover? It doesn't feel comfortable going in.
Yeah,
quite
to
yet.
to the sort of southern side of the building, there are two what look like collapsed towers that you could also make your way into. There's a bit of rubble and stone around, but
All right, he's gonna check out those two towers to see if he can find just enough to keep us out of, if it rains again, the rain.
sure, make a perception check for me.
15.
So as you make your way down the southern edge of the building, you can see the collapsed towers leading into it's dark on the interior, but broken bits of the interior building itself. Making your way around, you see the path sort of leads to this broken and burnt structure that is also collapsed with time and age. Would appear to be, I mean, you see, blackened beams of what was most likely a wooden stable, burned to its foundation. And then looming above is the wreckage of that partially collapsed tower that's the southern end of the mansion. All three floors exposed, although so dark that even your eyes can't seem to pierce it. The one thing that catches your attention in that dying sunlight behind you is a bit of a glint of something dangling like a thread from inside this, what you would know from your past and from your former life to be, looks like a mass of spider webs. Sort of brushing gently in the breeze.
All right. Well, he's gonna make his way back down after that and kind of report his findings from the exterior.
Okay.
You just say nope, 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 all the way down.
He didn't quite nope, but he's definitely not excited. I mean, granted, he's in winter, so extra not excited.
Yeah, so a little ways down, the invisibility wears off, and you guys see him before, just as the sun goes completely out. The moon light just barely touching, cascading off the river, flowing.
So there is entry into a tower, though there are a bunch of spider webs dangling in the wind. Things are exposed. There's an entire building burned to its foundation. I didn't check the front doors. There is a rather large statue of a dragon staring at the front doors. That's about it. We may as well just not go in and just deal with the outdoors. That's why I bought the tents.
I was gonna say, I don't know if there's much. If I was gonna ask, I guess, if there's any more protection up there than there is against this cliff face.
Well, there is the interior of the actual building still standing. I just don't want to go in alone with the potential of, who deciding to just pop in and, maybe rip my arm off.
I'm on my setting up tents.
Since it is.
Sorry, Durango. And Ash starts setting up a tent too.
Yes, wonderful. Another night in the dirt. Yes, living is so fine.
I did get you a bedroll. It's brand new.
And here I was going to call you Mr. Tents.
Mr. Tent Sveta.
Ash throws a tent stake at Durango. You might want to get a couple of these. You're gonna need them.
Tins is gonna make a small campfire and then snap, and it lights.
And as that light illuminates, cascading shadows dancing across the sort of stone ground that you're on. It's less dirt and more just sort of sheer, like, rock crag that is sticking out above the river. That sound of the rolling river, sort of gentle reminder throughout the evening that the slight misstep in the dark could lead to a bit of a fall and a tumble to be never seen again in those cold waters. And looking up, that massive stone structure, that fortress sort of looming over you like some sort of black shadow, a monster in the distance. You all settle in for the night. Tent set up. Who is keeping first watch?
Tins can.
Yeah, Ash will take. I don't know, whatever nobody else wants.
Let's make the other elf watch.
Yes, well, of course. I only have to sleep for a few hours.
It was a joke.
No. Let's I'll take watch with Durango. He can fill one of the other shifts since he doesn't have to sleep or whatever as much.
All right. Well, it's Tens, and you and I then. Yes.
Suppose so. Yes. It'd be
All
nice.
right. So as everyone tucks in, does their best to get comfortable against the hard ground, even with the wolfskin bedroll that has been provided for you. That is where we will take our first break. So thank you, everyone. Please make sure you're spending your elf eggs haphazardly. 300 gets you Tetris tonight, or Tentris if you'd prefer.
Tentris.
I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here anymore, folks.
I don't know.
I don't know.
2,000 gets you that Dice Envy giveaway. If you can't wait and you want to purchase your own dice and help me fund our future here, go ahead and use that code NEG2 at checkout. You get 20% off, and every little bit helps the channel. Look at those beauties.
Just showing off the fact that you have them in hand. Like, I'm jealous of the fact that you have them with you.
They're not mine. It's killing me. I want to roll them so bad, and I'm trying to be so good.
You can't, right? You gotta let somebody roll their own first roll with them. So
I promise you, I have not rolled them. Unrolled.
So jealous.
Yeah, like we believe anything Cole has to say. But all right, give us about 10 minutes here. We're gonna refill the beverages, drain the whatever we need to drain, and we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you in 10.
Witty.
And welcome back.
I'm a child. I'm sorry.
No, it's not you. It's chuckling.
Over the word dongle.
It's a fun word.
You never want to make perception checks. Yeah, I do need one from you, Chuck.
Can I get an advantage because I have a friend?
You sure can.
Okay. Telling you now, friend. 26. The natural 20.
So again, in your current state, you are focused. Casimir seems to be running through a set of rituals, preparing spells for the next day, going over his notes and looking at spell books. The two of you have a bit of conversation regarding some of them and kind of what you've been working on. But for the most part, you are vigilant throughout the evening. From where you're positioned, it's a relatively good spot, although as aware of you are of the surroundings, you are also acutely aware of the fact that you're also very visible. In the dark, wolf howls. You wait for more signs, more sounds, but the evening is quiet. The cold from the wet and the rain the previous night just seems to stick to you, even with the fire going. But other than that, the valley seems quiet.
Casimir,
Yes.
you have many non-elven companions here in Barovia.
No. I mean, we entertain the Vistani. They are untrustworthy, completely devoted to Strahd, if not outwardly so, but better to keep your friends close and your enemies closer, they say. And some of them are decent enough people. I think they are. This is a curse of their heritage, right?
Right.
But no, to answer your question, have I in the past? Yes, but it's been some time. Why do you ask?
How do you handle the lack of understanding of who you are at your core?
I don't know that that has anything intrinsically to do with being elvish, although it is important to remember that we are longer of life. Humanity in that regard is fleeting compared to some of the other races. They cling to it.
Right.
Right? And they are a bit more impassioned. They are a bit more rash. They are mayflies, right?
Just curious if you had any insight. Thank you.
What I guess what is the disconnect with the core of your being? Turns out, again, it is disturbing because I don't know that. I don't know that your particular upbringing would make a difference there.
Well, I suppose you're right. I do know that Mom used to tell me ever since my ears pierced my shell that
What?
if it's a saying in the Feywild that
Odd.
I shouldn't consider the opinions of those around me quite so much when it comes to my emotions. And seeing as you have a, I've never met a desk elf, and so it's just one of those things that I think that.
Well, I would argue that you are not unlike your friends here. To
what
us,
capacity?
we are a little more reserved But you are changing, fleeting like the seasons themselves. Yes, they are. They drive your baser instinct. It is not unlike, your friends. What I will remind you, over and over again, is that this place has a way of corrupting even something so pure as to imagine it as your core being.
By no means am I pure.
This world, this valley, this plane of existence, whatever it is that we are residing in, this prison, it will do everything it can to break whatever semblance of good you may find in yourself. It actively work to pit you against one another.
That's the thing. I think I have a weird, odd disconnect. There is no good. There is no real evil. There's just selfishness and selflessness at the end of the day.
Well, I disagree.
Disagree as you might. That's how I was raised. And I think, honestly, it's where my problem lies.
Well, perhaps, but I would tell you, I don't know how you can remain logically at that conclusion when you've seen evil in its truest form.
Oh, all he is selfish, though.
No, but selfish, yes, but it is a side effect, a byproduct of the fact that it is evil for the sake of evil.
That's just being incredibly selfish. Is it not? If you're just taking things, doing things because it amuses you, out of the sake of, for evil's sake, we'll say, that's still just you being selfish, isn't it?
Yes, but there's varying degrees. I mean, there's a difference between a child who refuses to share a toy that he loves versus what Strahd is, which is just, again, we're talking about a selfishness that beguiles itself in a again, there's a difference between being selfish, not aware that you are harming others, and knowingly doing harm to others. Would you agree?
I suppose.
You can be selfish in a moment and not realizing that you are hurting someone around you. Being self-centered or self-involved. Right? The farrier who buries himself in his work and ignores his wife at home, desperate for company, yes? Or, on the other hand, the cutthroat who kills for the sake of killing. He no longer needs the money to survive, but he just enjoys the task.
I would still see that as both equally selfish, though.
Yeah, they're equally selfish, but one is significantly more inherently evil.
In what capacity, though? Because at the end of the day, the wife is still going to be left distraught and ruined because it feels as though her husband might as well be dead.
Well, because yes, but I believe he has the option for redemption.
He kind of glances over at Cole's tent. I don't know.
Yes, perhaps he could see. Perhaps if the communication wall is taken down, he can become a better husband. But the killer. At what point are they beyond redemption?
Well,
And do they wish to seek it?
semantics.
I think you're overlooking the fact that without the dichotomy of good and evil, yes, then you can make it down to, you can bring it down to baser levels. But the reality is that there are things out there in the dark, Tenseta, that while selfish, care nothing for your life, for your well-being, for your happiness. They only want to see you suffer.
Well, that's most everybody. Those who are selfless are the ones that actually care about your well-being. Those are the only ones that'll ever care about your well-being, unless they're being selfish and keeping you well fed and taken care of. It's semantics. It's just a thought process I'm trying to burrow through.
Well, I would try to break the system. Do something selfless.
I was doing that. I suppose. Perhaps this is just my own corruption from the land.
Could be. I don't know. Take a decade or so to think on it.
I'm afraid these idiots don't have a decade or two.
With any luck, we've all got maybe another night or two ahead of us, yes?
Indeed. I suppose we should probably wake up the next.
Who was it? The devil-touched fellow.
Right, and Ash. You should not forget Durango's name, by the way. He will remind you of it
It's
every
nearly
chance he
impossible
gets.
to forget. He's charming. I'll give him that.
He's not. He's really not. I find him to be quite insufferable. And he gets up and kind of like knocks on the like tent rod at the top of Ash's tent. Hey.
Yep.
Then he leans in to Durango's and just kind of, hey, it's your watch.
Durango looks like he's having a very pleasant sleep. His eyes open and makes eye contact with Tens, and his goldenrod irises kind of flare for a second. Mr. Tens, your watch has passed. You are no doubt weary. No worry not. You shall sleep safely under the watch of the great Durango Fortescue.
I'm sure I will. Thank you. And he just turns back around and looks at Casimir and just says, "Bet you good, Trent."
You as well.
He
He
makes his
kneels
long
down
teeth.
in the tent, yeah.
Mhm.
Durango emerges from his tent and collects up a couple of like bundled parcels from their stash of rations and waits for Ash.
Ash steps out, wrapped in his cloak. Got his gear. Does a perimeter check before plopping down at the fire. Across from Durango.
And Durango, he's seated quite comfortably, looking like he's not concerned about their surroundings at all. He casually tosses one of the bundles towards Ash.
Ash catches it. Thanks.
Yeah, he slowly starts undoing the drawstring and opening up the package, laying it out on his lap. And so, Mr. Ash, is it my company you seek tonight, or do you find yourself sleeping better knowing that I am also asleep?
Well, I'm gonna be real with you, Durango. I don't trust you.
Durango, like mocks, looking offended. Mr. Ash, you wound me so deeply.
And that's why. There's always this facade, the bluster, the bravado. Why?
Why, Mr. Ash, I could ask you the same about the dour mask you don whenever you wake. And as he's speaking, he's undoing the front of his doublet, just like really casually.
I mean, I'm sure my dourness is caused by the same sad story millions of other people. I mean, everybody here has experience. I don't know what makes me so special and why I get to be such a cheery asshole all the time about it, but here we are.
It would appear that we all have our own ways to cope, Mr. Ash. Is this not true? And he takes like a piece of hard biscuit, takes a bite out of it, and lays it back down in his lap as he continues to mess with the ties.
I mean, yeah. And how do you deal with yours?
Why, Mr. Ash, of course, I'm the great Durango Fortescue. I spread joy and festivity wherever I go. You are looking for some deeper meaning, I take it? And as he's speaking, he throws the left side of his shirt over his shoulder and just kind of like lets it hang.
Now, Jay knows this. Ash doesn't. Can he see the second mouth?
Not yet.
Okay. I mean, everybody's got a facade. I mean, that's just a thing people do. You're here, you act like this way. You're over here, you act a different way. I've seen cracks in you. Your facade's always up, but not always. Just a little glimpse here or there.
And your eyes, Mr. Ash, you are sure they do not deceive you? And as he's speaking, he slowly lifts up that left arm and takes that remaining piece of hard biscuit and starts feeding it to the mouth under his arm, which is now plainly visible. Why, Mr. Ash, I assure you that what you see is quite simply what you get with the great Durango Fortescue.
What in the fuck is that? Is that from the Strahd bite? Ash is stands up and is half cocked.
The reasons for facade, Mr. Ash, as you well know, is that some of us guard secrets which others would consider most offensive and a danger to ourselves as a result, no? He continues to feed the mouth. You too have secrets of your own. I would expect you to understand better than most.
Yeah. Suppose you're right.
The difference, Mr. Ash, is that this gift I have embraced, and you carry it as a burden.
If you've embraced it, why do you hide it then?
Why, I share it with the world every chance that I get, Mr. Ash. And as he says the name Mr. Ash, it echoes out of the secondary mouth, along with him. I simply found a more palatable way to express it. And a most lucrative one at that, would you not agree?
We'll use lucrative generously, but it's useful from what I've seen.
Is it not better to find a way to turn these curses to blessings rather than hide them from the world, a constant shame and worry, leading to this dour mask you wear, huh?
I think the difference between us, Durango, is you found a way to make it work for you. People like the singing, they like the songs, they like the happiness. That's an easy win for people. What I got going on causes fear. People don't understand it. And there's not a good way to, I suppose, knowingly and openly flaunt it.
As he speaks, Durango holds up his left index finger, still feeding the mouth under the arm. Mr. Ash, I would disagree. I would say that you have not found a way. Not that there is not one.
Suppose that's another valid point.
Could you not see these talents employed beside the great Durango Fortescue in addition to an already fine act? Hmm? Did you ever consider what we might accomplish together if we were to combine these gifts?
Yeah, I suppose we could make some moves. Maybe in a different life. Would have you would have come along a little bit sooner.
Mr. Ash, different life, you say? Life is what we choose and what we seize.
You know, you talk a lot of blustery bullshit, Durango, but sometimes you got a couple gems in you.
Durango just smiles, takes another chunk of biscuit from his rations, and continues feeding the other mouth. And you, Mr. Ash, sometimes there is a rose amongst those thorns, you might say.
Yeah. It's easier to see that when you're surrounded by a bunch of sad sacks trapped in the fog that are just like you. I thought my dealing with myself was unbearable, and it is. But dealing with all this is, I don't know. It's different when you're not doing it to yourself, I guess.
The pains that we inflict on ourselves sometimes pale in comparison to that which the world can bring.
I don't think I've ever agreed with anything you said more.
And this, my friend, is why it is important to seize the happiness where you find it, and take what you can. You did not choose these gifts, but what you do with them, this is entirely up to you.
I'll see if I can't find the light in the darkness, I guess. That cheesy? That too cheesy?
My friend, it is fit for song. And Durango abruptly, lifts his shirt back up and starts redoing the ties. My friend, have you lost your appetite? You have not touched your food.
I'm not gonna lie, the armpit mouth kind of weirds me out. There's not much that turns my stomach, but that was a little off-putting.
And now you understand the need for a facade.
I certainly do. But make no mistake, Durango. I meant what I said this morning. If you take a turn and get a little chompy, be a little peckish, I will put you in the ground.
The fire between them, it's tough to tell if it's like flames reflecting off of his eyes or if there's actually fire dancing in his irises. But Durango just smiles. That's all the response you get.
Ash just smirks with a cocked eyebrow. Play away, oh banjo man.
My friend, I thought you would never ask. And he takes the mandolin into his lap and plays very mutedly. Like he's got the strings mostly muted as he just kind of pucks away.
All right. So as the two of you begin to, I guess, focus on your own individual moments, you're looking around into the darkness. Why don't the two of you make separate perception checks?
Perception. Oh, I'm good at those. Okay.
Lightning strikes. You see a figure.
That's a 9.
16.
9 and 16. So Durango, your vision, although slightly self-absorbed at the moment, and kind of playing your mandolin and keeping an eye on Ash, that sort of yellowy gray that denotes that your ability to see in the dark, right, as those golden eyes take in just more and more light from the shadow than others are able to. Everything around seems quiet and still, calm. Somewhere in the distance, a dark shadow moves through the woods, over the tree line. Ash, you see it too, although, much like Durango, you're quiet. The two of you kind of sit silently and stare as you watch this weird shape just sort of move across the top of the trees, bouncing in and then out again, as if hovering in between them before vanishing off into the distance. The tense silence of the moment suddenly broken by the sharp caw of a nearby raven.
More so into the dark than anything. You know, something's coming. Better tell us. Kind of just says it off towards the where the crow was.
It's a slight sharp caw in response, but you see the raven now. You can see it. It just settles on a tree up above and kind of shuffles a little bit before kind of tucking itself in.
Ash will get up and just kind of do perimeter checks while listening to Durango. Just kind of keep right at the edge of the firelight for the rest of the watch.
So running perimeter, the night seems again eerily quiet. Up above, you feel that you see shadows moving in the dark above at the crossing through broken windows in the mansion above. Just enough to see, light disappear, the sky beyond just disappear, the stars that barely shine through the overcast sky. As time ticks on, as unnerving and paranoid as you are, suddenly the sky starts to take on that lighter gray as morning begins to approach. That sort of dark, deep lilac purple hue as the sun just barely manages to irk a few rays over the mountains to the east.
Do we got one more watch left, or was that the last one?
No, that was it. Yeah, everything passes. Quiet night.
Yeah, as the sun rises, Durango's playing intensifies as a way to just like slowly wake people up. Not all at once, just going from like the muted tones and slowly building.
You hear from inside Coulson, "All right, Rango, we get it."
Good morning to you, Sir Cole.
Whatever. And kind of gets his effects together and makes his way out of the tent. We got a fire going or something?
Never stopped.
Alright. Let's find his way to it and sit down and warm his extremities.
Okay. And as all of you begin to gather your things, the sun now is high, as you can tell, beyond the gloom That morning, that orangey yellow sort of cascading across the valley itself. You watch the shadows from the mountains slowly creep their way back into hiding as the sun crests the sky, taking on that light gray tone as the rain continues to fall. And for a little bit of it, you see, the bits of snow begin to flurry around you as you look up towards that large mountain range to the south that you're heading towards.
Tins is notably in summer and grumpy all morning.
Ash was gonna lean over to Cole. He's grumpy in the blue. He's grumpy in the red. I don't know anymore.
As long as he keeps his gob shut. That's it. Cole is noticing the flakes, by the way. He's going to start putting on the warmer vestments.
Ash will do the same.
So, Tins will cast his mage armor and do similarly.
Durango runs pretty hot. He's all right for now.
Casimir, readies himself, and still in those light robes, despite the fact that you guys are all bundling up. So, what's the plan? Straight down?
Tins looks straight at Cole.
We have to talk about this. I think if everyone is in agreement as a democratically held whatever, I think we're going south.
Yeah,
Stay the course.
I don't know what this is, but let's just take it. I like it a big drinks, just straight.
Carry on then.
So all of you begin to make your way down this rocky bit of outcropping, the edge of the smaller mountain that creeps its way towards the river, down into the more marshy valley below. It is cold. You expected the water creeping in around your boots up to your ankles as you sink into the thick grass and mud. Cold in places you struggle to pull your boots, those your metal armor out of the muck. But you've done forced marches and worse, so quickly you begin to maintain a rhythm. The fog intensified by that morning mist, that the sun glinting off the wet ground, evaporating into the atmosphere, just permeates as you sort of enter this swampier region. You can see bits and remains of what might have once been structures as you continue to make your way south along what at once upon a time may have counted for a road, but now is just overgrown and flooded. You can see signs of the river where it is, possibly floods over in the springtime, retreated now, and just the damage it leaves underneath. The tree lines themselves, the trees, all tall with whatever branches and brush above wherever the water line has reached. The bark all twisted and kind of rotten and dark at the bottom. Tall grass swaying in the morning wind as you continue to march through this swampy terrain. It goes on for hours. This trudge through the muck and through this cemetery-like terrain. More and more you see signs of what maybe once had been civilized surroundings, right? The bits of stone from a farmhouse, a rotten wheelbarrow buried in the mud. It's sometime around late afternoon or a little bit afternoon when those signs become more prevalent. A much larger town begins to appear, pulling itself from the muck and the mud. You all pause for a moment to take a breather, as you can see very clearly now the remnants of what was once the town of Berez. The road, the remains of it meandering directly through this long forgotten village. And across the river, you see a raven. It swoops down and perches itself on this large upturned stone. You can see multiple stones across the river now. These large behirs, just or menhirs, just jutting like dull giant's teeth out of the ground. 10 feet, 20 feet tall. Even from this distance, you can see them, this standing circle of stones across the river.
How many days is it? Ish.
A little afternoon. Sun's still, what you can tell, is still high above you.
I think this one's a bit stuff after on the way back. Don't want to keep you away from home too long, Casimir.
He sort of looks around nervously. As much as I disagree, I shouldn't. Avoiding this, these ruins would take us quite be an additional time at it. It's quite up to you, of course. Don't you think? Yeah, I'm.
And he just looks over at Cole and just goes, "Think we can handle it going through here?"
Well, we took the river to be quick about it, didn't we?
Whatever. And he just starts marching into the just fastest route forward, regardless.
There's times between seasons were sort of nice and temperate. That bit between like spring and summer. That's right around nice around that time.
He just flips him. He flips him off over his shoulder.
All right. So you're heading straight through the town.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just kind of keeping an eye out as he does, flipping that blade, flipping that hilt around in his hand. He's taking the jacket off and had it over his shoulders. He's gotten a little warm.
All right. Anyone mind if I go check him out? And I just kind of nudge over at the ravens, kind of across the river. The river here, is it like a big coursing river, or is it like traversable?
It is, and it is very cold. You're make a perception check.
Oh wow, 20, dirty 20.
Okay, great. So judging by the distance, right, and looking at the river, and the land all around it is marshy, but where you can see the water pooling, it moves relatively quickly, particularly this close to the mountain, but not impassable. But it is, looks roughly 300, 400 feet across. Maybe if you can get one of the thinner things, it is a wide river that tends to flood this entire area. The standing stones that you can see are probably 1,500 feet away.
Okay, yeah, never mind. Never mind. Maybe if on the way back we can hit the other end of the river.
Yeah. Leave a trail going down. Might be somebody's paying attention and see if anybody comes back. Try to spoof them on the other side.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I don't fucking know. I'm used to stomping around a city. This forest crap has got me all twisted.
Mate, you don't try to sit down in the mud too hard and leave too many tracks, you're fine. It's like anything else, really. You can sleep in a house, you can sleep outside. Cook outside, cook inside, it's the same bollocks.
I mean, I'm used to having to hang out outside. Just, I don't know. Different things to pay attention to. I don't necessarily translate well from the city. Used to watching people, not trees.
Yeah, imagine that's a bit more interesting. Watching trees is sort of boring. We should probably keep up with the elf. He looks like he's going to walk right to the other side of the planet.
Right. With Tens leading the way, Ash will kind of drop towards the back and do full rear guard.
So scattered throughout this marsh are old, the remains of these old peasant cottages now popping up through the muck and the mud and the tall reeds as you get into this skeletal remains of this ruined town. The walls of these structures are covered with a thick black mildew. Roofs mostly caved in from rot and time. The decrepit dwellings seem to hunker down in the mire as though they have, long since given up on escaping the mud itself. And everywhere you look, black clouds of flies dart about hungrily. You swat as several of them sting you and attempt to bite through your clothes, even in the cool, cold wind that seems to be funneling
Will
down that mountain
occasionally,
valley.
as they start to like gather around Tens, he'll snap and he'll make the smell of manure like a few feet away from him to get him to go that direction. Whether it works or not, he's going to continue to do it just to make the people behind him miserable.
An animal handling check.
Prestidigitation, it just makes it smell. You're muted.
As you continue to make your way further and further, Ten's getting a little out in front of you. Through this ruined town, you see an odd sight suddenly. And it forces pause as this sort of humanoid shape takes form in your vision, just above, like impossibly hanging above the reeds. Arms outstretched. Before you realize it's a scarecrow tacked to wooden posts in sort of rotting sackcloth clothing, peering out with lifeless button eyes.
Tins just kind of glares at it. Starts moving away from it.
As Cole passes, he's just gonna... Yeah. Besides the smell of manure, you smell that? Oh. He's gonna continue to sniff the air, and I'm gonna cast Divine Sense, and I'm gonna see if it's more than just manure I'm smelling.
So your divine sense goes as 30 feet, 60
Yeah.
feet, 30
Uh,
feet,
yeah, no, it is 60 feet.
60 feet. Okay.
Yes, celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet of you. That's not behind total cover.
Are you gonna walk close enough to the scarecrow?
I'll walk within 60 feet of it. Yeah.
Yeah, as you pass through nothing seems to ding your senses. You don't see any sign of unlife or evil, but as you walk past, you see another shape, another one in the distance, very similar. You see one more. They're sort of dotting the area. These figures just strapped to these wooden beams.
What is a town that nobody lived in? Eat with this many scarecrows.
Well, they could have been here from before.
Okay, let me do one further. What is a town on the river need with a bunch of scarecrows?
After seeing the town covered in heads of wolves, I no longer question the aesthetic choices of these people.
All right, maybe this will make things a little easier if we just go ahead and go here.
Oh boy.
boy.
Oh boy.
There's a separate map.
Oh boy.
Oh, sure.
Oh gee.
Oh, gee, guys.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, crap.
Oh, good golly gosh.
Only I could see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah.
And before you,
Oh.
complete darkness.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
no.
No. Yeah, for
Not
sure.
what I
Yeah.
wanted.
No.
Oh, hey. Now I can see.
Scarecrows.
Hey. Okay.
Ooms, the fuck is this?
It's a scarecrow.
No, that's our friend.
Is that our friend
Oh
Casimir?
yeah, that's Casimir. Yeah.
Okay, cool. 100 feet? These are 100-foot squares?
They sure are.
That's absurd. I mean, I can travel one around, but you know.
We'll say here. We'll do this.
Don't like that you had tokens on deck either. Just said don't like it. I know how this works now, Jason. It's been 2 years. I understand now. I know your games. I know your tricks. I got you figured out.
They're such trustworthy looking tokens. Like,
So you walked within 60 foot of 60 feet
Yeah.
of this one, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
put
yeah.
you guys right here.
Man, that's way too close.
Well, it's just a matter of where would you like to go.
I mean, we're going south, so we're just gonna follow the road south. Just
Okay.
like zoop, zoop, and then zoop, and then zoop, and then zoop. We out. We ain't staying. You can't make me.
It was all this then, and I grab and start tugging on the scare. No.
For perspective, just so you have it, Hayes, this those standing stones that you saw
Uh.
are like right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh sure.
That's a distance.
So as you approach and you continue along the road, you see another cluster of these ruined cottages, separated by low stone walls. And you continue to follow along the short stretch of dirt road that seems to remain intact. It's a little easier to navigate. Peering through the rotten doorways, or what remain of them, you can see old rotted furniture just dotting the interiors of these dead cottages.
Why is there a bunny on the map?
I think your token is still polymorphed.
Nah, it's
Oh.
down here.
Oh, because I just grabbed the player one, and that's still the rabbit version of you. Just still exists for some reason. Or I might have thrown it in there to make sure I could polymorph you into it.
Uh-huh.
You guys just continue to follow the road.
Yeah. Tinsel comment on the fact that, hey, at least they all had their own yards.
Ash is a little sketched out by the scarecrows. So yeah, especially if we get to these point and there's still a bunch of them.
There's more scarecrows all over.
Just
Yeah,
leave them alone.
I ain't touching them. There's
You think that someone's like repopulating a town, like using it as like a? You think it's like a crazy guy going out here going, "Oh, hello, Mr. Baker," and he talks to a fucking scarecrow?
Who cares?
Well, I would like to know what I'm getting into.
We are not stopping here. There's no point in stopping here. We are going to this dumb temple to do the dumb thing and not stopping here.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with the elf.
Just leave him alone.
So as you make your way through the cottages, more of these scarecrows begin to pop up. Again, just sort of haphazardly placed along the town. One of them stands right at this crossroad, where the road itself continues to make its way down to the even marshier, what looks like even these pools of stagnant water that just seem to be building up closer to the riverside. The other direction possible to follow the river that seems a little drier is a little closer through the town itself. We'll say like this way, right?
Yeah, I assume Durango wants to go that route.
This way,
but he's...
or you can go this way, right? Either way, as you get closer, that scarecrow just seems to look out past you into the distance. You see a couple things. Down here at this southern end of the village, the ruins change a little bit. It seems to be the remains of some old mansion built on slightly higher ground. It juts up, kind of overlooking the rest of the swampy cottages underneath. And what remains of it now has been reduced to piles of stone and rotting timber, poking their way out of the tall reeds and the hillside. Empty arched windows sort of stare back at you. And somewhere south of the ruin itself, this sort of untamed garden runs rampant. Bushes and trees and vines tangle all around the remnants of this ancient mansion. Surrounded by, broken walls that no longer can contain it, as this growth just seems to permeate throughout. To the north, it looks like, somewhere off beyond the reeds, you can see someone has built a ramshackle wooden hut, just sort of oddly juxtaposed against this large stump of what looked like it was once an enormous tree. The rotting roots of the stump itself thrust up from the mire like the legs of some sort of gigantic spider.
Cole, you might be right.
Hell yeah.
Somebody ain't quite over what this place used to be.
Only, mate. It's like another mad mage, and he's just set up all these little people in town. And he lives there and he plays puppets with all of them.
Yes,
What?
they're all here to scare off any little ravens, new and still fledglings. in their faith, huh? Hell, maybe this is the long-lost winery for Terry's apple wine, eh?
As you point, as you point and say that, one of the scarecrows, the wind picks up and a bit of the cloth sort of shakes and shudders in the wind, and you can see clearly that from within, stuffing the scarecrow itself, are these black raven feathers just suddenly.
See? Woo! And he just turns around and keeps marching.
Which direction? West or southwest?
Yeah, he knows to leave Durango's shoes dry, otherwise they'll never hear the end of it.
Okay.
I don't know why he's coming at us. We're just making commentary.
Yeah, mate, he doesn't get, there's no transitional tones there. It's just hard line. I'll get him now.
I'm glad you do.
Cole's gonna take a look at the raven feathers and look across and at the kind of the raised stone outcropping again.
Make a perception check.
Ooh, natural 20 for a 21 total.
Nice.
Well, looking across the fog, and again in the morning, mist just kind of bathes the entire thing. You can almost barely see the river underneath it. Other than that, it's kind of moving with it. Somewhere through the fog, you see a bit of a flash, just a small light or something. Maybe a reflection. It's hard to tell through in the standing stones themselves, but just this glimmer of light for a moment. But as you continue to make your way westward, around the north side of this old mansion on this hill, it looks like you pass by what appears to be a crude wooden fence that forms like a circular yard, and somewhere through your skin, you jump out of your skin for a moment, and somewhere as you pass by, you hear the meh, the bleating of what sounds like several goats that are penned inside that fence. And then making your way up, looking, kind of following the crude wooden structure, you see mounted atop the fence post human skulls.
Good.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I love goats, though.
I think I've seen a Rob Zombie movie about this. Sorry.
So Nicole, I do believe that this is a town we shall not be playing. I do not see any appropriate venues.
What, you don't want to play for the fucking goats? What about the scarecrows that are not doing anything?
I think we need to get out of here.
Can we move on?
I concur.
If those goats are still penned up, that means somebody's here taking care of them.
And he's killed a shit ton of ravens.
Or the grass is growing in their pen and they happen to get water from the river.
Yeah, sure.
It rains a lot in Barovia. Have you not caught on to that?
I thought you'd go for a sort of nature thing.
What?
I've never seen you express such passion for goats before.
I like goats.
Continuing to push on. Just north of you, you pass this, through the fog, you see the empty shell of what appears to be an old stone church. North of the church, a little ways, is a cemetery. leaning gravestones enclosed by a disintegrating iron fence. Half of that cemetery sunk into the mire. Rotting coffins and moldy bones peeking out of the marsh as the land itself is twisted and contorted. What was once a resting place.
Yeah, I really don't know why you would build here. This seems just like terrible land to try to build stuff on. I'm just commenting, Tens. I'm not stopping.
Starting to catch on. Moving on.
I mean, I was doing that this whole time, but whatever.
Right?
No, we had to stop and
moving
talk
on.
about every little thing, every single time, talking about the rocks and talking about the scarecrow and the fields and the rocks and the
Dan,
stones
shut
and the
up.
big place. You shut up.
Oh, so you heard him, mate. He just sit here in absolute silence. Don't say a word. The entire trip. Say nothing. Remark on nothing. Good, yeah, excellent. Great job.
He just flips you off again.
Right. So you just continue to push on westward.
If nothing's attacking us,
If nothing swings, we're moving on, dang it.
If it don't swing, Durango don't sing. So so pushing through that marshy terrain continues for some time, several more miles. The sun now is once again getting low in the sky as you reach the second day, and from below the valley where you stand now, after again traversing for several miles, you see the cliff face begin to form and expand upwards once again. As you get closer and closer, the river cutting ever closer into the mountains surrounding them, and the remnants of or not the remnants, but these, high above you, the long, wide stone bridge just cascading across this enormous mountain pass. High above, the river whirling underneath. Up above, you see small stone towers poking out from the bridge itself. Casimir turns and says, well, it would appear that we have reached Solanka's Pass.
That means? Oh, right, ghosty things.
No, not ghostly things. I'm just saying it's. We are close. We are close now. The mountain. Go across this bridge. A few more hours up the mountainside, and we will be at the temple.
We're unusually smoothly.
Unnervingly so. Yes.
Who cares? We're on the other side. Let's just keep going.
Why did you assume that I'm tired of this whole, you just assume that we're gonna stop and talk. We can walk and talk. We can do two things at once. It's like a thing that we can do.
Seen how... Never mind.
It's sort of boring on these long trips when it's hours and you're just silent and nothing's going on.
Did it for years by myself.
As
Well-
everybody's talking, Durango has a different piece of music for each person, and he's just transitioning between them as a different person speaks.
Rongo, do that bit again. And he's
Stop
Cole's gonna
Stop
keep talking
it.
about just walking down the road and yeah. When his elf
Everybody
doesn't look
talk
any
about-
fun and
Everybody always talks about the annoying elf, but nobody wants to talk about the other annoying people in this fucking group, huh?
Ash is gonna throw his voice. What do you mean? And speak as Durango and be like, what Of course, nobody ever talks about the great Durango Fortescue.
Oh,
And-
for
And he's just gonna
fuck's
see
sake.
what Durango does for his own music, and just talk as Durango for a little bit, just to because he's picking up on the music changes.
It is a lovely piece, very dramatic, and it has considerably more effort put into it than the others. like the songwriting equivalent of spending a lot of time staring at yourself in a mirror.
It takes all 12 fingers instead of the 3 he uses for the rest of us.
Considerably more focus.
Well, that just seems unfair, first off. Second, could you please stop? All of you. Can we just, like... How did you get anything done as part of the Dawnbreakers? How do you catch anyone by talking about everything under the sun as a bounty hunter? And, well, I'm not going to ask you about yours, Durango, because, well, you make a lot of money doing yours. So, I don't blame you for that one. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Mate, the only way you can stay yourself with the Dawnbreakers is when you're lighthearted when you can. Because when you're on a job, there ain't nothing funny about it.
Uh-huh.
I believe the collective wisdom that we're trying to express here is I had something and I lost it.
Yeah, it's because you're just trying to fuck with me. I know how this works. I'm not stupid.
No. It's something.
No.
It's something about like how the
something
journey's
different.
good and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Somebody help me out here.
Yeah, you're not gonna make it.
Fuck, being cheery sucks.
Yeah. Try doing it without wanting to do it. Huh? He looks at the stone, the stone the stone bridge before us, and just starts marching across it.
So it takes a little bit to get there, right? The again, the mountain, the cliff face is becoming more and more sheer. So you find a good place to climb, right? And it is maybe 500 feet up from where the river itself is, right? So it takes a bit of time and maneuvering, but you all manage to, at one of its lower points before you get quite to the stone bridge, you manage to find a pass upward. And because I know Ryan loves this.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, let me zoom around. Okay. Fine, okay, there we are. How nice, great.
So this is the bridge, right?
Is that a good shot, Chad? Are we nice and framed there? Good.
Good.
I love maps. So as you begin to approach this path leading across the bridge, let me unpause it so you guys can do your thing here. You begin to see this archway that forms on either side of the bridge. And atop the archway, one of the statues is crumbled, leaving only the hindquarters of what looks like a horse intact. The other figure, a mounted horse with spear, facing its collapsed opponent.
Tins points at the half a horse and says, "Hey, look, it's you, Cole."
Yeah, probably a half a horse and a whole elf.
Suppose it just makes you the ass, right?
Not bad. Not bad. All right. Fair game.
Can just for Ash's curiosity, does it appear that anything in particular caused the statue to crumble where the other one is standing?
Make a perception check.
That was almost really good. It's a 10.
It's kind of hard to tell. The towers themselves are about 10 feet high, and then the arch where the horse would be another 15 or 16 feet. At least the gloom and the fog doesn't reach up quite this high, so you get a pretty good view of it. But it doesn't look like anything in particular. It's just crumbled. It could just be time.
Huh. Well, you can tell who the lazy mason was. Didn't put as much time into that horse as he did that one. Or the other guy put into that one. I don't know how masonry works.
Wow, gonna be you take some rock, you take some cement, you put them together.
I'd like to see you build something.
I bet I could.
I'd like to see it.
And maybe I will. Maybe once we get out of here.
All right.
Make my own house. You're
I'd
not
like a
invited.
gazebo. Fine, fuck you too then. I'll make a gazebo to stay in and you can just fuck off.
Oh, fine.
Fine.
There's no way I'm staying with you guys once we get the fuck out of here, because this.
What? You don't like me, but I like you. I think I even told Casimir last night. I like you more than these other two.
Yeah, Rango, you don't like us. Wonder
I
why.
didn't say I didn't like you. I just said I like him more than the two.
Whatever.
Now, Mr. Cole, if there is one thing that we have learned in our travels across these great lands, it is that there is no accounting for taste.
Right. Taste.
Ash is just gonna keep moving forward. I really don't understand the dynamic of what the fuck's going on anymore. And just keeps walking forward.
I don't either. Just lean.
So as you continue to make your way across the stone bridge, you pass these two guard houses that make up the interior of the arch, passing underneath, blotting out what sun remains, getting low in that western sky. Looking through and peering through, what light kind of creeps through the cracks of the guardhouses, both seem empty. Ash. In that moment, as you take your eyes away from the bridge, they find their way back there, looking at this impossibly large structure. This 70-foot span across this giant chasm, with a 500-foot drop beneath. Though the bridge is old and stone, it appears to be sturdy. Though pieces of it have crumbled away over time, it doesn't seem overtly treacherous to cross. The low walls that enclose it have fallen away in a couple places, but ultimately everything seems passable. But in the middle of the bridge, a black-cloaked rider on a charcoal-colored horse seems to stand guard.
Alright, well, I don't like this, but... Hey, Casimir, do we know if, people travel this way a lot, ever?
I wouldn't, I'm sorry, wrong accent. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know why. No, it's not typical, but it is Barovia. Anything's possible.
Alright, well... I guess straight across.
Yeah, Cole's gonna walk up and, sort of friendly and put on the charm a bit. He just raise up a hand. Alright, traveler, just passing through.
Ash will be, he'll be second, kind of acutely aware that he'll put himself behind the guy with nice metal armor, but in front of all the people that are less inclined to have any sort of armor.
This black cloaked figure just sort of sits atop this horse that's almost statuesque, this giant black charcoal war mount. Seems to peer out with almost reddish eyes. The figure cloaked up top. It's difficult to make anything out, but Cole, you approach friendly and arms out. As you get closer and closer through the shadows, you just begin to barely make out a face. Familiar. Pale. Dark black hair pulled back tight. These reddish eyes sort of peer out, this smirk, this fanged smirk that appears across its face as it stares down the top of you from just above, sitting atop this warhorse. That black cloak flutters impossibly in the wind, while everything around it stays silent. And you watch this illusion sort of waver and shimmer in front of you as this mounted figure, this mounted portrayal of Strahd just sort of smiles in the dark with the cloak underneath before just vanishing like ash being suddenly blown away and cast out across the river. And as that ash and that shadow just seems to disperse, you kind of follow it with your eyes across the valley. And then once again, the sky is almost blotted out, as if another one of those large clouds just passes over what's remaining for what the remnants of the sun that are piercing through. But this time it doesn't dissipate. And as your eyes follow that line and you look up, you can see this massive, impossibly large, dark shape begin to descend rapidly towards you. This massive winged creature now tearing down from the mountaintop directly towards your location. And as it gets closer and closer, the silence and the whipping of the wind is pierced with nothing but a shrill, sharp screech from this giant beaked maw. And that's where we'll pick up next week.
Yeah, of course.
You had me there for a second, JD.
Do you think it was a dragon?
I thought it was a dragon.
Yeah.
You know, that's the fun.
Just an albatross or whatever. It's fine.
Giant
Man.
fishing birds are generally friendly.
It's a very large seal.
How about this? Does that give you an idea?
Oh, good.
Oh.
Oh, fantastic.
Feed that thing a couple fries, man. It'll be your best friend. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's just a big seal.
All
Don't
right.
worry about it.
Anyways, so thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode of Curse of Strahd, brought to you by -2 Fortescue. Of course, as we always do, thanks to Foundry, thanks to Forge for helping us get these games up and running. Please make sure you are spending your elf eggs however you wish. I'm not going to be the guy to tell you how to do them, but if you honestly, we kind of talk about either or, but let's be honest. You can get 2,300. You can get 2,300 in an episode. We really stretch these bad boys out, so you really can get the Steam game, which is Tetris today, get that dice giveaway entry in. Why not? Why settle? Have your elf eggs and eat them too. I always
How
say.
dare you eat your elf eggs?
Mother
One
always
of them
said eat
could've
your
been
elf eggs. There's
little salt, delicious. Go down smooth.
How dare you?
starving Kasartans and kill to have. Cool to have
Deviled elf eggs.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ryan, did I buy enough time for folks to get their last entries in?
You certainly did. I'm gonna spin the wheel here. And friend of the stream, live from the apocalypse, congratulations. You've won yourself Russian stacking game.
Congratulations, comrade.
It's I like to call it vacation road trip simulator or apartment moving simulator, otherwise known as Tetris. So congratulations. Have fun with that. That's awesome. Let's see who's gonna roll for our raid tonight. Let's go with. You know what, Ryan? Do you ever get to roll?
Hardly. Sometimes, but not often.
All right. You know what? Let's go for it.
Okay.
This is your
The great Cole Mavvin. Let's go ahead and see where we're gonna raid tonight.
Oh, that's a 5. Okay.
Nice and low. Nice and
Nice.
low.
2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to Insomnia Night RPG. They're playing Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, apparently.
Nice.
So,
That's a cool one.
yeah, that's real good.
Anyways, see what I did there. Cool one. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being or joining us and hanging out with us. If you're not in the Discord, go join it. Come hanging out with us there. The fun don't stop. We keep it going in there. Otherwise, we have Cinder Stream tomorrow, where Chuck gets to torture me. We get to flip the script. Although I think we have it's like downtime tomorrow,
Yeah,
right?
it's downtime.
So,
Yeah, we're having downtime tomorrow for all sorts of people.
that's all right. I figure there's some way you'll make that awful. But if you guys aren't watching Cinder Stream, it's a really cool shit. It's a very stark difference to Strahd, although it's still it's like a noir detective story. And I feel like Strahd is very similar. We really could have done a Casmar Curse of Strahd. Yeah.
Hey, Curse of Casmar.
Curse of Casmar, yeah. 1940s version of Curse of Strahd.
Casmar Strahd. Yeah, no, we
Mix in a little Vampire the Masquerade or something.
We could probably figure something out. I mean, we do have a damp here in the party now, so.
Don't remind me. But if you guys aren't watching that one, it is really good. I mean, we have a really good time over there with that show. And then, of course, Plastic Cougar will be Thursday. And then, Christ, we're just about done with April.
I know.
Yeah, so we'll be giving dice away, probably, maybe even when's yeah, we'll be giving dice away next Curse of Strahd. So that's exciting. So you got 3 more chances to earn before our giveaway. And then we're on to May. And boy, do we have some big stuff for May planned. So thank you guys again so much. We're going to take off now, but we will see you hopefully tomorrow, but definitely next time.